About a year and a half ago, I began to study the whole idea of the southern stars on a flat Earth. At the time, I was looking at the problem in a general sense. How is it even possible that that this phenomenon could take place? That we could see different or the same constellations in different places depending on where we were standing. And it took me a long time to finally get my mind around it, and that was the subject of my first video. It's just in a general sense, how could this possibly happen? And if you haven't seen the first video, I would hope you would go watch it. But in the process of debating with people in the comment sections, other topics are beginning to spring up, things I had never thought about. And one person in particular, uh, he's making the point that when you stand in South Africa, if you've got the Earth, and you see here, I've got it marked north and south because I've turned it sideways here to make a point. So this is Antarctica down here, and this is the North Pole over here. Right here is Argentina and Chile down in South America, and over here South Africa. And we're going to be using these 2 points because as night falls on Argentina, it's still dark in South Africa. So we're able to see the constellations from two different vantage points here. And this is his point, that if we're in South Africa here and another fellow down here in Argentina, they're both looking out to the southern stars, the pointers and the Southern Cross. But we see they're both looking at the same spot, according to his theory, according to what he's saying, looking at the same general area of space, looking at a physical point. There are stars out there, and they're arranged. Now, we're not even going to talk about parallax. I don't even want to bring that into question here because we're just talking about a couple of thousand miles, which these distances that modern science tells us that these stars are, millions and billions of light years or whatever, and there's millions of light years between them. So parallax at some point comes into play. You would think that if you could increase your base for your measurements enough, that you should be able to see these stars moving. The star in front should move in front of it. It's called parallax, and they try to do this, but they base it on the Earth. 1 point on the sun, then 6 months later it's on the other side of the sun, and so they use that entire area there as a base for their calculations. And it's ridiculous. It's foolishness. First off, the Earth doesn't even move, but they think it does. So they're trying to calculate where they are 6 months later to draw a baseline to do parallax. I don't even want to go there. I don't even want to go there right now because this little piddly few thousand miles here between the two continents is not going to affect our parallax at all, and I don't think anyone would say that it would. So here we are looking at the same point. There shouldn't be any difference in these stars, but what do we see when we actually do this experiment? Now, we need to have a program like Stellarium, which is what I use, and we can do all kinds of things with Stellarium. It's a wonderful thing, and that's what I've got here. I'll bring up on the screen now. Here I've pulled up a little town known as Belleville, Argentina, and it's on the 32nd degree of latitude south here, and you can see. Let me get rid of this. You can see the sun over here just going down. Over there, see, so we're looking south. The sun's just now going down, but that's what we want. We want just enough of the stars to make a determination, because we've got a whole two continents worth of space here. So we're very fortunate that we can even do this at all, because over in Australia, it's daytime, so you can't do this, but you can here. And what we have is this is the Southern Cross right here, and these are the pointers right here, and we see that they are pointing sort of in a upward, not directly upward, but diagonally from the what would be, I guess, if we looked at if you imagine a clock face right here around the 7:30, 8 o'clock position, pointing toward the 2 o'clock position on the clock face. Now, before we move on, I want you to notice the time down here. This is UTC time, 1858. It's right about 19 UTC, which will be around 7 o'clock Universal Time. Now, let's go over to South America, or South Africa, excuse me. We're going to go to Cape Town. That's where I want to go. It's on the 33rd latitude here. And what do we see? First off, we don't see the pointers here. Now remember, we're supposed to be looking off into a general direction here. And here, down here, we're at the same UTC time, 1900, which is about, again, about 7 o'clock at night. UTC time. Now, this is not local time. It's UTC time, which is the universal time. It's always the same. No matter where you go, it's going to be 1900 at this particular point. So, where's the stars? Now, we're looking at the same spot in the sky. Remember, we're looking at the same, we're looking millions of miles out there, and we're seeing the same spot. Well, where is it? Well, from this same default position that Stellarium pulls up, we went right to it in Belleville, but right here in Cape Town, we don't see it, and the reason is because it's up here. Now, how is it that two people standing on two different continents, looking at the same stars at the same time, not the same time local time, but at the same universal time? Now, they're both at the same point. I can't stress that enough. They're at the same time in history, and they're looking millions and billions of light years way off into space, the same spot. Parallax does not come into play because I've already explained that. You're not going to get any parallax from a few thousand miles on the Earth. You need millions of miles, supposedly, and you ain't going to have it. So we go from being at the 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock position, pointing at toward 2 o'clock, to basically 11-ish on the clock face, pointing downward to around the 5 o'clock position on the clock face. So what's the problem? Why would that be? Why would you see it so far out of whack? That right there destroys the globe. That right there proves that you are not looking out over millions and millions of miles, of light years even. You're not, that's not what's going on here. What is going on is the stars are close, and you've got the person in Argentina looking and actually seeing them from a different angle. And more than that, goes hand in hand with my first video. You're not actually seeing the stars at all. You're seeing a reflection off of a dome. And that's what causes these stars to appear to circle each other, to circle around at the South Pole, supposedly. is you're seeing a reflection depending on. I mentioned in the comments when I commented to this fella, I mentioned it's like looking at a rainbow. The rainbow is where the location of the rainbow is determined by your vantage point, where you're looking through the spray of water or whatever it is, through the mist in the air, and the sun's shining at the right angle, and you see the rainbow. A guy standing 10 foot beside you is going to see a whole different vantage point. His rainbow is going to be in a different spot, and only if the view is large enough do you get several people standing together, all claiming to see the same rainbow. And that's what's going on here. These stars are projecting its refraction, reflection. I'm still trying to get my mind around what's really going on. And we know there's water above the firmament. The Bible tells us this. There's water up there being held back by the firmament. So that maybe is coming into play, and that brings a whole new element into things. So there's still some mysteries to unfold here, but this right here is a perfect example of how the dome is affecting our vision, our view, our vantage point determines what we see, which goes hand in hand and confirms my first video in how this whole thing comes together. So there you go, folks. Here's video number 2. Maybe we'll get another one. Who knows? But I hope it helps you. Thanks for watching.